Welcome to the Firearms Insider Gun and Gear Review Podcast, episode 275. On this show, we showcase gun reviews, gear, and anything else a gun enthusiast may be looking for. We strive to evaluate products from an unbiased and honest perspective. I'm your host, Chad Wallace from the Firearms Radio Network, your source for all things firearms related. In this show, we'll be discussing another new pistol nobody asked for, and I need to see an eye doctor red dot, and an ambi mag release. And tonight on the podcast, we have Tony and Zane. And I know Tony did something cool in firearms, or I think he did, but who knows? So which one of you guys wants to go first?
Was that last weekend?
I don't remember what it was.
Dude, I've been busy. I really don't remember. I got a lot of stuff going on. All right. I don't know if I told anybody that I was in the Chris Costa class. Did I bring that up last week?
I don't think you did.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
I think you did.
Did he?
I
I
don't
don't
know.
remember. That was like last week.
Yeah. Anyway, so I did the Chris Costa class. I on the 2A4E podcast, I did a review on the Modern Materials Ace rifle that my friend Joe Savio from Modern Materials allowed me to use during the class, which he, got me into. That was really cool. So it's a $1,400 rifle, but it's constructed of like the best, all the prime cuts. You know what I mean? When it comes to building an AR, and it performed like a well-made AR-15 does. I watched other people's guns choke up, and that one ran. That was pretty cool. Got to have dinner with Costa twice. Got to hang out. I mean, Costa was really cool, but it was hanging out with all the other guys that makes going to a firearms class, especially a multi-day class, pretty cool because you meet a bunch of other dudes. You get to shoot a bunch of other guns and equipment. So I think that's what I think it was this week. And I'm starting the build project for the high tower bullpup chassis for the 9mm high point carbine. So that's getting started hopefully tomorrow. I couldn't do it today. Actually, tomorrow I'm at the range. So hopefully this week I can get that sucker built, take some pictures, and even get some range time comparing the two against each other. Full size carbine and a bullpup carbine. So that's what I did. That's what I'm doing, and I hope that was pretty cool.
Nice. Zane, I know you did something too.
Yeah, I went and shot a drill. I try to shoot at least one drill a week. I went and shot the 5x5 drill. I shot it cold, first time I ever shot it. And I, by the skin of my teeth, qualified as expert with it. So that was cool. And then today, because it's National Stop the Bleed Month, I went to a Stop the Bleed class that the instructor didn't show up to. So I did not take a Stop the Bleed class, but I went. So that was kind of, unfortunate, but I tried. And so for those of you unaware, it is Stop the Bleed Month, and you should check them out on Facebook, and you should find a class in your area, and hopefully your instructor will show up, because putting holes in people is important, but knowing how to plug holes in people is just as, if not more important. And I bought a car.
Yeah, this is not the car and gear
Right.
review.
I was just saying I bought a car, though, which is cool. Oh, you know what? Yes, it is gun related because I installed a lockbox in that car so I can lock firearm in it if I have to go somewhere where I can't take a firearm.
And since it's somewhat convertible, it's very important to have that in there.
Yeah, it's
Very much so.
It's a convertible, and it's
Yeah. Well,
Don't be that dude.
That's right. As per everybody else, I made it to the range. If you follow our Instagram, Sean Fisher was making fun of me for missing the target, but I had a bunch of stuff I needed to shoot for reviews, ongoing reviews.
Well, you are supposed to hit the target. Just so
I hit it most of the time. Okay.
I mean, you did hit it most of the time, but
and that steel is actually here for review, and it's pretty tough steel. I mean, I did shoot it at about 30 yards with a 223, and it didn't do anything. So
you're probably not supposed to do that.
I know you're not supposed to do that. That's why I did it.
Fair enough. Tony's rubbing off on you, I see.
I know. But I have I have the cube compensator for pistols in. So I did that. I got a slide from Freedom Flag Products in. So I had to adjust the sights on that thing and shoot it some, make sure it's good to go. Have a trigger, the Velocity PCC trigger. So of course I put it in my pistol caliber carbine, and it does not do like their 3-pound trigger does, which is not for a PCC. uh, which is good, and that's part of the reason they designed it for that. So that's a plus. It's got a nice feel to it. It is their PCC is part of their MPC line, so it has shoes that you can change in different profiles. So I was testing out all that stuff.
PTCs are dumb anyways.
Yeah, I know, but hey, you
What
have
is?
one.
Oh, nothing. I'm just trying to make the internet mad. Per
You know,
normal.
We could make the internet mad, but I know. I was trying out the Endomag too in the PCC. You remember
Nice.
the Endomag is the 9mm magazine that goes in the PMag.
The little insert deal.
Yep.
How
So
is that in for review, or is that just something?
it is in for review. They sent one out.
I won't ask you how it did then. I'll ask you off air.
I can tell you, I ran about 100 rounds through it, and it functioned fine. I had
That's
zero problems with the function. It does go in. You have to whack it pretty hard to get it in the magazine to lock in. And it does the ejector.
Do you have to do that only fully loaded, or can you download it?
Only with the bolt closed, actually.
Okay.
Was when it had. It is a double column feed magazine, so you can load it like an AR mag. You just shove them in from the top. So that's a plus over like a Glock mag.
Cool.
But of course, the ejector is built into the magazine. So if you drop the magazine and then try to get the round out of the chamber, it just slides back and forth. So you have to put the mag in to eject the round.
So clearing malfunctions could be interesting.
Yes.
I look forward to that review then.
That's the short review. So yeah. So we'll get into the announcements. Bandwidth sponsor, Patriot Patch Co. You know, all our buddies over there. Go join the Patch of the Month Club because it's awesome. I have no idea what's for pre-order. I get the emails. I see it on Facebook. Just go check them out. They got all kinds of cool stuff.
If you're not a Patch of the Month Club member, you really miss out on a really cool patch. Because this month was pretty legit. It was pretty good design. Yeah,
it's a lot of times they kind of make comedy style ones with like an Easter bunny flying an airplane and stuff like that. But this month it was, meant something since it's Memorial Day. So yeah, it was pretty cool. If you're shopping for AR parts, you can use our GunTech affiliate link if you want. And I will say that I do know most of their stuff is made in America because I talked to them.
Really? We're going to go there already?
Nope. I just said that.
All right.
You can check out gunstreamer.com for firearms content. And if you want to shop Amazon, use our affiliate link at firearmsradio.tv/Amazon. And Rob is not here because he's on vacation or something. So the views and opinions expressed in this podcast are those of the individual co-hosts and do not reflect the official policy or position of the Firearms Radio Network and or their employers. Viewer discretion is advised. This is especially true on live shows. And when we get to the listener feedback, you might understand why. Since I didn't do a review, we don't have one today. The
original show notes I said Chad maybe.
I know.
And then that just disappeared.
It just up and disappeared, kind of like the review. It's just not there.
It's fine.
Yeah, I know. So first up in our product spotlight and discussion is the Noblex Docter Glock MOS Red Dot. It's got an MSRP of $513. They don't really have any info on it, so the link is to the Firearms blog article. And if you don't know, Docter Optics is now combined with Noblex, so that's why it's a Noblex Docter, whatever. So what this is some little tiny electrical red dot sight, typical, that has a Glock MOS plate that's built on it, and that is how it's mounted. Which is a really cool idea. Just because it's already the Glock MOS system's already on there. And, I'm kind of skimming over this article. It doesn't sit very high. It looks like it will co-witness with standard height sights, as it says in the article. But I was looking for dot size, and I'm sure my co-host might be able to help me. But it's 5 MOA. Its parallax is 25 yards. It uses a 1632 battery. It's an auto regulating brightness. It doesn't look like it has a manual adjustment for brightness, but I do not know. But basically, besides what it is, this thing is tiny. Like, it's narrower than the Glock slide, and it is very low height wise. I didn't see an actual dimension, but if you go look at the article,
8.5. I think it's an
millimeters
8.5 millimeter. Well, I saw 8.5.
above
8.5 millimeters above the track.
So it's super low. I wasn't sure if when it said that, if that was where the red dot sits in the center or if that was the total height. But either way, this thing
The
is
sighting
small.
axis is 8.5 millimeters above the track.
See, it's a good thing you're here. I see that now. But I thought I really like the concept. The only thing I see is other companies are going to larger sites. This is a much smaller site. So, but because it's on the same plane as your regular sites, I don't know until I see one to know if picking up the dot is going to be quicker, about the same as iron sights. You know how they all go, because on a big window, it's easy to find it, but this thing's pretty small.
So in order to pick up the dot on this, your draw stroke is going to have to be locked on. You're not going to be able to have any, like, you fub your draw stroke, you're not going to have the dot. And you're going to have to go back to the irons to align, and that's going to waste a lot of time. And then at that point, you might as well just use your irons.
Yeah, you're already there. So
I like the concept.
That's
for
what
concealed
exactly
carry because it's very small and the footprint and things. I am very concerned about durability. It does not look like it would hold up to getting banged around and stuff, and I'm very hard on everything. And the other thing is that Windows so small.
That's I know.
You know, I've shot RMRs, I've shot Holosuns, and I've looked through. I have not shot, but I've looked through that new one by Trigicon, the SRO.
Oh yeah.
And I'm probably, without even playing with it, would probably just pass on it, if for nothing else than the size that way. Because you remember, you got to track that dot during recoil. So unless you have outstanding recoil management, you're going to lose that dot in this little bitty window during recoil. And also during your initial draw stroke. If your initial draw stroke, if you don't have that good, the term everyone likes to use is muscle memory, which I hate that term, but for the sake of argument, we'll just use it, and have a solid draw stroke, you're not going to have that dot in the window. And I don't know. And a 5 MOA dot, kind of big, but it's still roughly the same size as the front sight post, so that's not a huge deal.
Right. And that's kind of the dot size didn't bother me as much as the size of it. And
There's a
I'm
lot
with
of
you.
dudes running around with RMRs with 6.5 MOA dots. So
The only thing
No.
else I don't like about it is the auto adjust.
yeah,
And the reason is because it's one of these things that if you're going to have it on a defensive pistol, if somebody's out, say in the sunlight, and you're in a dark room,
yep.
it's going to adjust to no brightness at all for the most part, and you
So-
won't be able to see it.
Little pro tip out there for people: have it set brighter than you think you're going to need it. If it's manual adjust, because if you have time, you can turn it down. If you don't have time, you'll still be able to use it.
Yeah,
Kind of like with hunting, you keep your optic on the lowest power because you always have time to dial up, but you never have time to dial back. The big elephant in the room is going to be the durability, obviously. But even then, I just think that window's too small. And again, I'm not a dot expert, so what do I know? I'd be interested in seeing this getting banged around and beat up by some people.
I take it the totally opposite way, and it's based on my ignorance of using a dot on a pistol. Now, I know dudes who run Docter optics on their rifles. They're really small, and they don't have a problem with them. Some of the guys that came out to the Minuteman Challenge had that on there, and he ran it perfectly. It was really small, worked for him. As far as I'm concerned, again, this is speaking from a total position of ignorance. I've only handled a few dots. I'd really like to go ahead and get one set up and run it because that is the future. But this thing is small, but it's just like your front sights. So when you draw and punch out, you should be drawing and punching out, and your front sight should be set up, and the dot will be on top of it. So I don't see the problem.
The
It's not suppressor height sights.
The difference is, though, you can always see your front sight. Like, no matter how misaligned you are on your draw stroke, you can see that front sight and pull it back in. If that dot's not in the window, you have no idea what you need to do to fix it. And that
makes no difference. I'm going to shoot my front sight.
Well, at that point, you might as well just use the sights because you're giving up all the advantages of the dot. The advantage of the dot is a single plane focus shooting.
Okay.
So, and I get what you're saying, and you're absolutely not wrong. I would like to see the window a teeny bit bigger. Again, I'm like you though. Haven't shot a lot of dots, so
yeah. So
we're kind of both, you know, for the listener's sake, coming at this from a very ignorant point of view. But we're trying our best here.
The thing is the problem with it is if you miss the dot, what happens is now you have to focus on your front sight.
Okay.
Which, even though changing focus doesn't take huge amounts of time, it still takes a fraction.
And to be fair, there are instructors out there that advocate for using the sights to find your dot. The instructors I trust say that technique is total BS, but those are the ones I trust. There are instructors that do advocate for using the sights to find the dot. It doesn't make sense to me, but it is a thing.
On that rock slide up for the Glock, I never even put sights on it.
Right. Well, I mean, there is a school of thought that you find the dot by initially lining up your sights, and as the sights align, you find your dot. That is a school of thought, and I completely disagree with it. Only because the people I trust that are, you know, do dot things disagree with it. It's not a personal opinion. I trust these guys more, and it does make sense that just completely, you know, is pointless when it comes to the whole idea of using a dot. All that being said, I like the idea, like you're saying, Tony, of the small window because, you know, smaller footprint, easier to conceal.
Yep.
But
exactly,
I think this is getting borderline too small. And I guess really neither one of us can say with any certainty, obviously. I mean, that's
no.
I shouldn't say I guess we can say that. We absolutely cannot say that. You know, because neither one of us has actually touched one. But yeah, I'm skeptical.
Now, for people's information, they do make a sight almost exactly like this for shotguns. So it's basically a redesigned one of those, but I think it has the same size window.
I was gonna say it's a slightly bigger window because
No, I think it's the
Nope,
same
it's the
size.
same size.
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
It's the
I'm
just
same
this
still
size.
tiny.
yeah.
But
I
See,
for
I
understand one thing
definitely
though.
pass on the shotgun
I
on
would
that
think
size window.
I
Understand.
would think it would be easier on a shotgun because, like you said,
Hmm.
with presentation
Further
on a
out.
pistol is what makes it. But on a shotgun, you put your cheek on there and you're looking
Yep.
down the bead or
But also
sight.
with the shotgun, concealability is not a factor. So it doesn't
Right.
matter how big the window is. I'd rather
Right.
have the SRO on the top of a shotgun. I want a
Exactly.
big window. And
Okay. Well,
that's another thing I want to get
the way I
into
look at
is dots on a shotgun because I think that is, money.
Yeah. Well, go
I
ahead,
look at
Tony.
it this way with this particular firearm. I mean, excuse me, the optic. Dude, we're pretty much in the first generation of carry optics. I mean, you know what I mean? Of carry optics. We are. Before they were on gamer guns. That's where they came from. That's the world they came from
And
on a
they were
handgun.
big.
And they were huge. It's gotten smaller, and now we have them on concealed carry firearms. But again, this is the really first generation. This is the beginning. This is not the end all be all. This is how we do it right now. So, however you pick up your dot is how we're doing it now. But 20 years ago, we were shooting isosceles. Before that, you were Weaver and all kinds of one handed. All that stuff developed over time. So, this is developing over time how we use these products.
And yeah,
So, who knows where this is going? Maybe you'll have to shoot differently. Maybe things will change as we grow into this. Either way, um, they make a good product. They have a history of making a good product. Let's see how the market accepts this.
you know what I see
Sure.
going on here? You remember
What?
how cell phones got super, super, super small?
And then they got bigger.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
And they're all about the same size now, unless you want the bigger one, but generally that's what I see going on with these little red
Maybe.
dot sites. They're gonna make them so small, then people are gonna be like, yeah, I prefer the larger one.
I mean, I hate to say it, but at what point, if you keep making the window smaller and smaller and smaller, at what point do you just use a laser? I mean,
It's
I'm not a
true.
fan of lasers on
Who
handguns,
knows?
but I mean, once the window gets, I don't know. And again, I guess we'll see. Just like you
Yeah.
said, like both of you said, we'll see what happens because things are going to change. Eventually, there's just going to be a little piece of glass up there, or eventually, we're probably going to have like a contact lens in our eye or something that has
Yep.
like so. I mean, who knows where we're going with it? But me
We
personally,
should
I-
patent that idea.
I mean,
because
it's fair, right? That's
I'm all in with the contact and the
Oh, are you kidding?
basically
Just like a
pointer.
like oh, absolutely. That's the future.
A
But yeah,
built-in heads-up display.
I
A
just
built-in
know
heads-up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like a heads-up display on like a contact lens or something, or they'll probably just insert
Yep.
it in your eye.
And
Who
it doesn't
knows?
turn on until you draw the pistol,
Yeah.
right?
Clearly, I
Yep.
listen to way too much Joe Rogan. But
Get
yeah,
on that Crimson Trace.
yeah, right. For me, the window is too small. But that's from a person who doesn't use a dot on a pistol on a regular basis. So, the durability is the big elephant in the room, and I think we would all agree on that. If it can't take a whack, I got no use for it. But if it can
Right.
take a couple good whacks and keep on ticking, it might be something there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, this has already been used on a shot. This has already been used on a shotgun, but the G forces on a handgun are way more.
Yep. And that's a lot of people don't understand that. You're looking at 3 to 4 Gs every time that slide cycles. And when it locks back, even more. So
Mhm.
and the original RMRs were not designed to be used on handguns. That's why they
No.
were dying prematurely. And people were like, oh, at 10,000 rounds, my sight died. It's like, well, that thing was designed to be used on a rifle. So it did pretty freaking good.
Yeah, and that's the truth. And then RMR came out with the Type 2.
Type 2s, they kind of redesigned to be used because people realized that's what they want.
Yeah.
And again, with this one being super thin, I'm curious about the application for this on like single stack guns, 42s, 43s,
Yes.
365s, shields. And I know this is a specific MOS mounting system, but with it being a little bit narrower, that's where I kind of see this being a thing in the super narrow guns. So I don't know if they're going to release a new mounting system or something, but I think that would be, interesting. Because
Yes.
there's really not a red dot out there other than the shield
Right.
for the narrow guns.
True.
And the shield has some reliability issues, depending on who you ask.
Yep. Yeah.
It's always good to see new things come into market because that drives competition, and competition makes everybody get better, whether it's made in America or not.
Exactly. So now that we're done with the, I can't see it because it's so small sight, we'll get into some pistol that I haven't seen, and I don't think you guys stopped at NRA to see. Excuse me. And that is the
I did.
Cool.
Yep.
That's great. It's the Narrow Arms N1 with an MSRP of $399. And basically, this is a new carry single stack pistol. 7+1 rounds, 9mm. It has no trigger pull to disassemble. Yeah. Double action only. So I don't know, and somebody will tell me here if
Trigger's terrible.
Okay, is it striker fired or is it hammer fired?
I believe there was a hammer on it.
Okay,
the trigger
It's hammer fired.
It definitely felt like a hammer fired gun.
It's DA only hammer fired. It's DA only hammer fired.
Okay, it's got front and rear slide serrations. I think it uses SIG sights if I remember correctly. It's coated stainless slide. It does have an aluminum receiver. Full length actual light rail. Let's see. Components are coated with something glass reinforced polymer grips, so it's probably a little chassis type system since it's aluminum hard coat anodized receiver. You can get a two-tone finish. Basically, it's a new pistol that everybody's doing, single stack, small. And I'm glad that somebody saw it, so I will let them take it away to explain what this thing's like.
All right, so let's give credit where it's due. Gun looks good. It's got front cocking serrations, and it's got a legitimate rail on it, which for single stack guns is rare. That's about where the credit ends. The gun felt absolutely terrible in my hand. And that's very subjective. I understand that. The trigger, while it wasn't not smooth, it was very LCP-ish.
Okay,
it felt very much like press the trigger, a little bit smoother and a teeny bit lighter, but not much. It's a double action hammer fired gun, so. Terrible trigger. I mean, but what do you expect? It's tiny. It wasn't much to hold on to, even with that little mag extended lip. Again, the big elephant in the room is going to be the reliability, and I have no idea about that because I didn't shoot it. I just handled it in NRA. I think the gun has some features that are notable, and that other companies should take note of, like, hey, look, they're putting a rail. You can throw a light on this. They have front cocking serrations. They got actual real sights on this gun that you can swap out. But the hammer fired DAO, that is going to be a hard trigger to master, especially in this small of a gun. And I'm not completely convinced that the gun's going to be reliable. Just based on looking at it and based on the price point. And I could be totally wrong on that. It may run 80,000 rounds and never have a problem. And I'm sure there will be people on the internet who will say that.
Claim that.
Right. But I was not a fan. Tony, did you actually get a chance to look at it, NRA?
No, I didn't look at it NRA because I don't care about it. And the reason I don't care about it is because it brings nothing to the table, doesn't do anything. Okay, so what? It has a rail. Usually when you get a smaller gun like that, you don't use a light on it anyway.
Correct.
All right, so now you're just bulking up something that's supposed to be subcompact, and usually dudes throw these in their pocket in the holster. All right, so my other problem is this. Smith & Wesson 380 EZ is hammer fired. It
Yep.
has a awesome trigger.
Much better trigger.
It feels better in your hand. I mean, it has more. What, dude? This has 7 rounds. Why would I buy this from a company who we made OEM parts for AR-15s for other companies.
Well, and the other thing is
that being firearm parts, that means nothing to me.
Well, the other thing is, let's look at guns in this size. All the other guns around the same size. Shield, Glock 43, Glock 42, if you want to get out of caliber, Shield,
365,
380, 365. They're all striker fired, so they all have.
Even the ancient car pistols are.
Yeah. Well, I'm not a huge fan of the triggers on the cars, but the triggers on the cars are smoother than this. They are about the same travel distance, but they are smoother. So I guess my question is why? And the only reason I actually checked it out, Tony, is because they were like 4 booths down from Grey Gross Precision. So after I got done talking with Ryan, I was just floating along. I'm like, oh, what is that thing? And
that's why I wondered if either of you had seen it, because
they were right down the road from Ryan's booth. So
because I didn't think that you would actually go there on purpose.
No, I didn't go there on purpose. I just saw it, and they had a very not really aggressive, but a very personable person in their booth. It was like, hey, have you seen our new? And I'm like, all right, I'll look at your thing.
Yeah. It's another gun.
And again, and again, it's no, the trigger's not worse than an LCP, but for other guns in this size, there's better options, I feel like. And again, it may go 80,000 rounds with no cleaning and no hiccups, just like every XD on the internet ever.
And you have the problem with, and I feel bad for the company, because even if this is the greatest gun in this size caliber, that is there. A lot of
competition.
Well, they have a lot of competition. The competition is not new.
No,
so
they have a name for themselves.
Right. They have a big road ahead of them, and I wish them all the best. But yeah, I don't.
And look, I dig the front cocking serrations. I dig the beveled sights. The real sights. Because I mean, if you've ever shot an LCP, which this is bigger than LCP, I don't know why I keep comparing to that, but they don't have sights on those at all. No. And to be fair, the Glocks don't come with sights, but there's plenty of an aftermarket. And I dig the beveled front end. I dig the rail, but I can't get behind this gun. I can't get behind it.
They don't have the reputation of the firearms makers, so they don't have that. But fine, if are they innovative? Not really. They didn't bring anything, including, again, work on your trigger, man, because it's very difficult to shoot a subcompact well. And if I have to fight what they say is a 6.5 pound trigger,
it's not. It's heavier.
Okay, exactly. So now I have to fight your trigger. And the price point, you better bring this in lower price point so I can step into it. And you know what I'm saying? It's like, because if you're the same thing as a Smith & Wesson, a SIG, even a Ruger, why would I go with you?
Yeah.
For this small firearm? Yeah, full-size firearm, it might be a range gun or something else, but nobody's buying a subcompact for a range gun.
Especially not DAO. And they can say 6.5 pounds all they want. Glock says 5.5 pounds, and I guarantee there's more than a pound difference between those two triggers. And maybe that's just my perception because of the length or whatever, but it felt much heavier than a Glock trigger. So I can't say for sure it's more than 6.5 pounds, but I can absolutely tell you it felt much heavier than a Glock trigger. which
Oh,
is
and
spec at 5.5 pounds.
did you hear the MSRP? The blued one was supposedly, and this is only from the live interview from the floor of the NRA. The blued one is $399, and the silver one or the stainless one is $410.
Why not just make them both
Yeah.
$399?
Well, so what's the cost on a Smith and Wesson Shield right now? About $250, $300.
The new version or the old version?
The old one, you know,
They're like $250.
Yeah.
And you get them on sale for cheaper.
What's the street price on a Glock 43? About that 400.
Yeah,
Because
that's
the
about what I'm
43s and
looking
42s are fairly cheaper than the full size guns. What's the 365 running? 450.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Something
it's a
like
little
that?
more.
Yeah, it's a few dollars more, but you get a few more rounds, and arguably, I won't go there. We know how I feel about SIG. You know, I'm with Tony. Why would I give you my money and I don't know anything about you when I can give someone else that same money that I know something about?
Well, and that's the thing is I'm with both of you guys. And the thing is 3 years from now, you know, I
might
change
give
my
you my
mind.
money.
Exactly.
Absolutely. But I'm not
Yeah, I
going to be
mean,
your guinea pig.
But look, let's compare new gun companies we never heard of. You got to take a little trip in the Wayback Machine, and let's talk about Canic. Nobody knew who Canic was. I remember when they came out because I'm a cheap dude. So no, I'm just talking. No, I'm talking about the Canic came out and it was $299, and as it's built its reputation, and as they came out with different versions, the price did go up as they improved. Now, no one's going to blink their eye for a $350, $400 Canic, right?
I am.
Okay. All right.
No, I mean because of what you got and the reputation they already have behind them. You know who they are. You know lots of people shoot them, and you know they have a lot of different features. So it's feature rich. I mean, heck, they even go. Agency Arms even did one, or Salient Arms just did one. I forgot which of the two, but they have their version.
I think it was
of the Canic.
Salient. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's been out there. This hasn't. It doesn't have that resume. So without that, you're asking for a price in the same ballpark as the other things, and it's like that's not really the way this is gonna work, dude.
Look at the HS 2000. It came out. It was a $250 gun, and it got a reputation, and now it's a Springfield XD, and
it's a $500 gun.
It's a $500 gun, and it still sucks.
Well, and the other one is like he said, the Hudson. Hudson came out asking for this huge price because they were so great, and now you can pick them up for $600. Just don't shoot it because
and you can't get parts for it. And quite honestly, the Hudson was probably a great gun, but
it was a nice.
It didn't
I
work
never
out
owned
very well
one.
for him.
Right, but I've shot 3 or 4 of them.
And I've heard a lot of interviews with, and we're getting off topic, but I've heard a lot of interviews with Cy Hudson, and he seems like a really nice guy. But
yeah, and we won't go there.
Yeah,
but really, what the reason I brought it up and the reason I'm talking about it is had all the hype in the world.
Yep.
Now you're stuck with pretty much something that's going to be on Ian's Forgotten Weapons, and it's a safe queen. So now we're talking subcompact. Again, no one's really buying a subcompact as a range gun.
No.
So now
they're not fun to shoot, especially a DOA.
Yeah, exactly. So now I have something that I have to depend on.
Not
Yeah. Killed in the streets.
Yeah. Killed in the streets.
But now I got something that I have to depend my life on that goes away. And how much are the magazines? Because it didn't say. I mean, I'm assuming it's proprietary mags. So
I have no idea.
I can't remember. I asked the guy specifically about that, and I forgot his answer.
That's okay.
Well, I've watched multiple interviews, and they gave no indication that this shares a mag with anyone. So now in my head, how much am I going to pay for magazines for a brand new gun? I don't know if they're dependable. I don't know how they run. It's a lot of question marks here for a new company that haven't been proven yet.
Oh, you know what? That looks like a proprietary. I'm looking at the picture of the mag. It definitely looks proprietary because it tapers at the bottom. I mean, at the top. So, and I can't think of another single stack pistol mag that tapers at the top.
Oh, like that. Yeah, I'm looking at it
Yeah.
now too.
Because it definitely has a taper up there. Yeah, they should have either used a shield or a Glock 43 mag. What are you doing, bro?
Yeah, you should go over and talk to the guys at Mossberg. They knew what they were doing.
Go talk to Mossberg. They got it right.
And at least with them, you know, the company's going to be around in 10 years, most likely.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, and by the way, this is funny. Smith & Wesson Shield 9mm and a PSA complete AR-15 lower Magpul MOE edition, $379 combined.
Yeah. Yeah.
I could get a carry gun and a completed AR-15 lower.
And as much as I talk junk on the Smith & Wesson triggers, even the stock trigger on the Smith & Wesson guns are better than this one.
Wow.
So,
okay.
Get a shield or a 43. And or get this. You know, if you want it, get it. And then send me an email and let me know why it's so great. Whatever.
No.
But just get a shield or a 43 instead.
Yeah, and that's sound advice, really. I mean, unless you're in love with this, and you know, some people are going to buy this just because they're like, hey, it's a new gun, they're collectors or something.
Yeah.
I mean,
you know,
Patton over at Gun Collective seemed interested in it on one of his episodes. He was talking about it. So maybe they'll send him one and maybe he'll run it through its paces. And
yeah,
you know, if you trust Patton and he says it's good to go, then whatever. If you don't, or if he doesn't, then whatever.
Yeah. So next up is something that, you know, I don't know, it's worthwhile. I put in here the Strike Industries Ambi mag release. MSRP is $37.95 to $39.95. Basically, this is your AR-15 ambidextrous mag release. It looks pretty cool. You know, not everybody's right-handed. I mean, there are some people that are left-handed. I feel sorry for them. Like my wife. So stuff like this actually kind of makes sense. Pretty much it says it's designed for pretty much most lowers. See, and they even in here said, you know, for wrong-handed folks. So I guess, you know, that works. Oh, and I think the AR-15 podcast, that old salty Marine they have over there is wrong-handed. So, you know, at least I'm nicer to him than Tony and Sean are to me on their podcast. Oh, back to the Ambi mag release. It's a drop-in part. It comes with this magazine release button, spring. Basically, everything you need for $40. You can pretend you're left-handed. Strike Industries comes out with a lot of these little parts, and you know, they seem to be fairly decent. So I thought I'd throw it in here, let people know it's available. I don't know.
This is truly ambidextrous and not switches it over to the other side, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
Yeah.
I'm looking and that's what it looks like.
Yeah, you push the regular mag release on
you can push it on one side or push it on the other.
And when you push it, it's got like a little flat with little grooves, and you push it, and it looks like that rocks the mag catch.
Yeah, it looks like it's a lever, so when you push in, it actually pulls the mag catch from the other side.
Yeah, and it looks like a decent part. I mean, especially I don't personally, you know, it's not that big of a deal, but for $40, if I saw one at the store, I'd probably buy one just to see what.
Looks like it sits
all about.
Really close to the bolt release.
See,
yes.
Yeah.
And so if you had a larger bolt
really close to the bolt release,
you may run into problems.
Like within a 16th of an inch of the bolt release.
I think it's an 1/8 of an inch.
Okay. Hey,
that's my educated.
You use your
estimation,
I'll use mine.
Okay. Where are you guys seeing this on a rifle? Okay.
But just if
this
I
little,
Oh,
scroll down,
dude.
yeah,
Oh
yeah,
no, and no.
yeah.
but okay,
Yeah.
I'm gonna say one thing. Yeah, I get it's super close. Now, if you are a lever, if you never use that and you always use the charging handle,
Then you're wrong, but okay.
but then you're probably not going to
Exactly.
get in the way.
I mean,
And yes,
so
you're wrong.
if you're one of those always run the charging handle folks, which there is a nationally known instructor who advocates for that, and I'm not saying he's wrong, but he's wrong, then sure, this isn't going to be a problem. But the last thing I want to do is insert a mag, go to hit the bolt release, and in the words of Clint Smith, put the thumb towards God because God and Eugene Stoner got together and designed this to work perfectly, and then drop my mag out the bottom of the rifle.
Yeah.
I
So,
don't want to
okay.
pull I don't want to pull a Jack Black in Mars Attacks, and it's time to go, and you hit the bolt release, and your mag drops out, and you have one round left
I
because you
think
wanted to be ambi.
I think if you're lefty and you just refuse to conform to the correct way of doing things, then just put left side controls on the gun. I do not like how close this sits to the bolt release. I just if if it was not where it is, I would be on board with it. I'd be like, this is cool, whatever, do your thing. The gun works fine for me. Works for me, just like you see in every gun form ever. But this is so close to the bolt release. I can absolutely see inserting the mag and then,
Yeah.
well, I guess if you're inserting the mag left-handed, I don't know. Either way, I don't want this on my gun. I do not want this on my gun. I'll just leave it at that.
It looks cool. It looks cool until you start running this thing in a class, or even running it in any way. Dude, it's adding more stuff to your rifle that doesn't need it. If you're left-handed and you're hardcore left-handed, Stag Arms makes rifles for you. They're 100% left-handed rifles. Get on it. Buy one. Adding stuff to your gun that wasn't meant to be there adds
Points
the
of
thing is
failure.
very ergonomic.
Yep.
It adds points of failure. It's a very ergonomic. It's probably the most ergonomic battle current modern rifle out there. And adding all this stuff to it adds complexity that you're going to have to work on. And I wouldn't want this on my rifle either.
Yeah.
I mean, the idea is solid. I mean, like you said, it looks very ergonomic. It looks great for dropping the mag. It also looks great for dropping the mag when you're trying to send the bolt home.
Yeah.
I got you.
Gloves, tire.
Yeah.
How's this?
Or even just in a weird shooting position. Maybe you're not. Maybe it's not sunny in 75, and you're just sitting there pew-pewing at paper targets. Maybe you're in urban prone, shooting from your offside underneath a vehicle. And I know I'm getting like all kinds of John Wick on you, but
Tony do that the other day.
Yeah, right. Like Tony was doing that the other day in a class.
Had to use the laser.
And yeah, I mean, so if you're trying to shoot from underneath a vehicle or something, or even just you get knocked on your butt and you got to shoot from supine prone. And I just don't know. Solid pass.
How's this?
Good initiative, bad judgment is what I'll leave it at.
And one of my reasons it's not to use it. I'm right-handed. Right-handed people that outfit their guns ambi, just to have that ability, learn to run your gun, dude, the other way without adding more stuff to it. Just get more experience running your gun with your offhand.
And let's also be extremely honest about something. Like the odds of the average individual retrieving a rifle and engaging a bad person with a rifle and running out of 30 rounds with the rifle and having to reload the rifle from their offside because they've been injured. Let's just I mean, I'm not gonna say it can't happen, but like I just don't.
The chances of you messing up with that ambi
Yes.
and is
Yeah.
way
So-
outweighs the chances.
My thing is most likely, least likely, right? What are you most likely to deal with? What are you least likely to deal with?
You're
Train for most
likely
likely.
to deal
Don't
with the magazine
put yourself
dropping when you drop the
don't
bolt.
put yourself at a disadvantage for most likely to put yourself at an advantage for least likely. I guess
There you
is
go.
what I would say as a so
Okay.
Florida man.
and that's
Look
all
at
I had to say about that.
Okay, Florida man. No, you guys are both right. I mean, now that I saw that, I'm like, yeah, that's pretty darn close. I think I'd pass too.
And honestly, when I researched the show notes, I didn't see that picture, and I was like, "Oh, this is awesome! I like this." And then, like literally live in the show, I saw that picture, and I was like, "My opinion has
Ooh.
changed."
Yeah, I so could see myself hitting that bolt release and having the mag just fly out. I
Yeah.
yeah.
Day
So
day three, day two, day three of a class, hour 8. You've been running drills, and now you're just dropping mags because you can't avoid hitting that thing. Yeah.
Hour 2, day 1, because the instructor's standing right behind you, telling
yeah,
you,
day 3,
"Don't
I'm
F this
dropping
up."
mags before they even go in the magazine. Well, okay,
True.
on to listener feedback. Oh, and we got some stuff. Last week we had a question about the Hunting Tactical 60 Model 60 stock in New Jersey, and Hunting Tactical sent an email to us directly to us. Said, I heard the show last week with a question about putting our HT60 on a Model 60 in New Jersey. I wanted to email you asking you if you would follow up on that question for us, which we're doing. I know you do not give legal advice, and neither do I. So, of course, we do not give legal advice, and they don't either. However, we can say that the HT60 is New Jersey compliant on the Model 60, not on the Model 795. Well, the question was about the 60, and he had already bought one, so that's good to know. And Tony and Sean gave their input also. They have it in writing from the New Jersey officials, is what it says.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool.
So, yeah, that's
that's actually really cool. Like
Yeah.
that they listen and that they were, good
Yeah,
enough to respond with some input. I
I thought
appreciate
that.
that personally. Florida man appreciates you.
No, I actually wrote him back. I said back and said thank you. I mean, that's it's nice to hear from people like that, correcting what we weren't quite sure about, but it's good to know. Now, of course, it's probably still not legal in California, but no, I can't say that. It could be. It probably is.
Well,
Ooh,
I'm looking at it this way. I have that knockoff Glenfield Model 60.
Right.
I have a kid shoot coming up. I can if I can shrink and bring that stock in to allow a kid to shoot this off one of my, off a table.
Oh
It
yeah.
makes it easier for the kid to learn. I got a red dot set up. The kid will be able to have fun. Plink, I think we're going to shoot like 10 rounds per kid at this event I'm going to per rifle. And it's just going to be awesome for him, an introduction to a Model 60. And you could have all the cool stuff on it. You could grow into that rifle. I mean, yeah, sure. As a kid, you can use a shorter stock, and as you get older, you might want to switch over to the wood. But at least you have that option with this. You
Right.
can't do it with a 1022 because the 1022 takes a mag. So I think this product will work out great for the purpose I need it for this particular event. And if you have one, I can't wait to shoot it and check it out and see how it's built. And if it's sturdy, dude,
Yeah.
bee's knees in a
That's great.
stupid state like Jersey.
Yeah. No kidding. Okay. Here. This
Ooh,
is
read the
going.
next one. Read the next one.
You read the next one
Well, I got to read it. All right.
because
So this is from Steve. And he says, listening to podcast 272 almost made me go HRC. Is that Hillary Rodham Clinton? What is?
What does that mean?
I'm not sure.
I don't know for sure, but
Made me go HRC on my cell phone. Made in America does not matter. How can you all voice such an ill-informed opinion is not at all clear. Your show researches thousands of persons, and you have a response. Your show reaches thousands of persons, and you have a responsibility to be informed about the behavior of bad state actors like PRC, which is the People's Republic of China. If you're going to make such statements, do you think that Holosun would be a product without EOTech or Aimpoint? It would not. Here's a nugget of info for you all. What is the one thing that President Trump and Senator Schumer agree on? The estimate that China is stealing 500 to 600 billion worth of IP from the US each year. Do you think that matters? I do, and so do millions of Americans. I have worked in China. I have witnessed firsthand how one copy of Windows is copied to 300 PCs. That is the software they use to manufacture cheap speakers and TVs. Check out what China forced Boeing to do. It says PRC, but no one knows what PRC means.
Right.
Check out what China did to Boeing to do in order to secure a large purchase of aircraft. Joint venture with technology transfer. Has China earned that tech by their own research? No, they forced it out of the hands of U.S. companies. Manufacturing is the foundation of a thriving economy. Look at CH and DE for how they maintain a manufacturing base of the highest quality. Do you know that the People's Republic of China has developed nation status in the WTO? That's the World Trade Organization, I assume.
That's
courtesy of Bill Clinton.
You don't have to
courtesy. Yeah. And need more convincing. Pick up a copy of Wealth and Democracy by Kevin Phillips. The end stage of a great economy is dependent on the financial service sector. I do regret that my first contact with you has been a negative tone. Your show overall is very entertaining, and Tony's commitment to time and resources to the 2A causes is laudable. If there is ever a diversity shoot out in Oregon, I would happily volunteer to assist. Regards, Steve. Thank you, Steve, for your input.
And it was, I think the post was in response to, we were talking about the loophole red dot that they came out with. And I was like, I said something to the effect of, it's made in America, if that matters to you, or something.
I think it was something about something wasn't made in America. Well, it doesn't matter. Right, I'll tell you that it doesn't matter. Made in America doesn't matter. And I respect everything Steve has said, and he doesn't make invalid points. But the fact is that if we're talking about some company that is knocking off an Aimpoint, or I think we actually established Aimpoint is not even made in America, but I'm not positive on that. So don't quote me on that.
Or at least some Aimpoint company is not an American company.
So some company that's straight up, some Chinese company that's straight up knocking off a product and selling it on Wish, for $30. Sure, at that point it matters, but made in America isn't what it used to be. All it means is that you're going to pay a lot more for a quality that may or may not be better. Unfortunately, not everything that's made in America is of good quality. So, and it's kind of like we talked about before the show. It's a lot more in depth than just made in America or not. Like, where are the parts sourced from? Where are the materials for the parts sourced from? Who put it together? Is it assembled in America? Is it? So I can respect the point Steve's making, but at the same time, I still say that at this point in today's day and age, whether something's made in America is really irrelevant to its quality. And if it means something to you, that you want to spend the extra money because you believe in that, then you should do that. But for me, I want something that's a quality product at the best price I can get it. And if it comes from somewhere other than America, I'm okay with that. That's what I
yeah. I I understand where Steve is coming from, and as a United States Marine, much like Zane, um, I wish most of our products or all of our products were made here. That would be awesome. But I'm not going to shed a tear for Boeing because Boeing didn't have to go into business with China. Boeing accepted that deal because they want that Chinese money. The fact that President Trump nor Chuck Schumer can cut off China as a trading partner, even if a bad actor, what the heck am I going to do when I'm talking about an optic that costs $200? So let's be real. If all American people stopped buying products that were made in China, where would we be? Well, you'd probably not be on your laptop. You won't be listening to this on your friggin' phone.
And
Like
and
none of
I'm
that stuff
I'm
will
gonna
happen.
say before the show, I gotta cut Tony off here. Before the
Mhm.
show, Tony actually went on Google trying to find certain companies like computer companies and phone companies that were made in America, and he didn't have very much luck. He found some that were assembled in America and or
Assemble.
yeah,
The
assembled.
fact of the matter is, if you want everything made in America, you're gonna pay a lot more. We got to have trade agreements with other countries, because if we don't, it's a very expensive. And listen, and why is it expensive? Well, because we don't hire like 12-year-olds to build things for like a bowl of rice a day.
We have
All right,
labor laws.
and we have labor laws. And is that a bad thing? Probably not. But the fact is, all your stuff that you have that you appreciate on a regular basis,
Mhm.
your vehicles, your electronics, your air conditioning in your home. I live in South Florida. We really like our air conditioning down here. Like it all of it in some way or another has some component in it that is not made or assembled or sourced from America. It's just not a cut and dry thing. And I can appreciate what Steve's saying. I don't know much about the politics of it when it comes to Trump and Schumer and the World Trade Organization, because I'm Florida man and I'm just trying to stay out of the news. I
Yeah,
mean,
and
let's just be fair. But at the same time, I can't go looking at the label of everything I purchase and wonder. And so for me, is it quality? Is it worth the crap? And is the price right? And if those
But
three things balance out, it's good to go in my book.
and the thing
and I
is
agree. I agree. I
right.
agree
And
with one thing now.
go ahead, Tony.
Uh, it's a threat. China is a threat to America and American way of life. And you know what? It's up to our politicians to fix that, not me when I'm checking out a Hollerson.
Yep.
And that's the thing is, I kind of tend to like stuff that is made in America or assembled in America. And the reason is it does give some jobs. I understand that, parts can't be made here, the steel might not be made here. And
But Tony brought up a
depending
good
on
point pre-show when it comes to jobs.
right.
And I don't know if you want to expand on it, Tony, but basically the shipping industry, the people that work at the ports that bring the
Yes,
stuff in, those are all American jobs.
exactly.
Um, and look, I got a set of Craftsman wrenches right in the other room that I've been working on my car all day, my foreign car all day. And I love my Craftsman tools, but I also love my foreign car.
Well, just for your case, I love my Snap-on tools.
Well, you paid
I
a
hate
good
tools.
you paid a good penny for those.
Well,
I hate.
back when I was young, I used to do that for a living. So,
That's
Oh
before you
yeah,
had
I know
kids
that.
and
way
stuff.
before I had kids. Uh, so, it does mean something and that's why, like, usually in like when I do reviews and stuff, if it's made in the USA, I'll put that. If it's not, it's like the Holosons. They're not. They do have good technology. Did they steal it from some other country? Maybe, but they kind of brought some of their own, like they have the solar failsafe things, which
And none of us are
nobody did
advocating.
until they did it. But
Yeah, and none of us are advocating for the open theft of stuff
products,
like the
yes.
fake hogs and
Oh,
and
jeez.
and 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 that nonsense. So Thanks, Steve, for the
So
feedback.
one of the one of the things about Holliston, because we're bringing it
Yep.
up, Mr. Sun, that's his name, funny, right? Was at the owner of Holliston was at NRA and Indy. So he was at the booth. If you came by, you could have met him. I was there. I missed him, but my friend Joe works for Holliston. He's a Holliston rep. He was the one that got me in. He was the one that donated to Holliston to our diversity shoot. So yeah, I'm not gonna poop on them because guess what Aim Points donated to the diversity shoot or Trigicon. Trigicon donated some catalogs, which was cool, and a couple of stickers. But I'm just saying, Holliston has donated product. Holliston has helped us out. I have a relationship with Holliston. Do I think they're the best? Well, we've already talked about their products. So yeah, Americans have jobs because of these Chinese companies. Again, you want to get into the politics of it? That's way outside of our realm of expertise whatsoever. We were
We just
talking
like
about products.
guns.
We like
Yeah, we were just
guns and
we
knives.
like
And,
guns and things to shoot. No, but the reason we brought it up was just talking about a product and their quality compared to other products made in America. That was it. We weren't talking about the politics, PR, PRC or anything with the world trade organizations. That's beyond our pale. And I'd appreciate it when I get out to Oregon if you volunteer and help us out. So yeah,
hey,
there's no ill will toward you. This is just a conversation about something that we aren't experts on.
I
No,
sent him an email and said he could that Tony would gladly help him start one.
yeah. No,
Yeah,
I
I
appreciate.
really,
I absolutely. Yeah, I appreciate the feedback.
no,
Thanks, Steve.
I do
And
too. And that's the thing is, it's like all feedback to us is good, and
again, he's not like I said. He's not wrong. The points you bring up
right,
are not
correct,
invalid, but from the way we're looking at stuff, it's just not relevant necessarily.
right.
So yeah, so I guess Tony, now you got to go to Oregon, which I think we know someone who lives in Oregon, don't we?
Yeah, Chad's
Don't.
son and his daughter, they're awesome.
That was perfect, Tony. Perfect.
That's good.
Well, now you guys know Steve too.
Yeah, and now
Hey.
now we got Chad and Steve. So what are you waiting on, Tony? What are you
Just north
doing?
of me is Ryan Cross in Washington,
Yeah.
and TriggerCon's
Yeah.
coming up in July. You should come out. We could all stay at Ryan's.
Oh,
Ryan better have a big ass couch.
yeah, but where's everybody else going to sleep?
No, that's what I meant, just for Tony.
Yeah. Okay, Tony, it's all you now.
All right, June 14th is the next anniversary shoot. This one's on a Friday, freaking awesome. So help me out, fill up the place. Hopefully I can get tickets on sale. Everything's been delayed a little bit, but I'll be posting tickets on Eventbrite. If you want to help us out, all right, hold on. Some people may not know what we do. Second is for everyone, introduces new people regardless of your race, religion, sexual orientation, gender, background, financial considerations, all of it. We want to welcome you to it. We're going to introduce you to Second Amendment advocates in Jersey. We're going to introduce you, hopefully, if the guys can make it out, to NRA, ILA, and we're going to talk about your Second Amendment rights and anything else you want to talk about. We also will link you to the website that you can go and get your paperwork started. And after we get to know each other a little bit and talk around, hey, listen, I'll even be one of those co-signers onto your as a reference. So that's what we're willing to do. We have food, we have fun, we have giveaways, and I can't wait to see you come out to Gun for Hire Range in Woodland Park at 6 p.m. on June 14th. For some reason, I wanted to say July because that's when TriggerCon was. It was messing me up. If you want to donate to us, great. You can go to GoFundMe, type in 2A4E. I could really use your help because we're going out to St. Louis for a brand ambassador workshop slash gun class. And I really need all the help I can get because stuff's expensive and NRA just happened. These things happening back to back has really impacted the wallet hard. So if you can help a brother out, we'd really appreciate it. You can also become a patron on Patreon. We're going to have some giveaways. We have some knives from Knife Rights, and I'll be advertising them on our podcast more and talking about knife rights and their steel challenge. You'll find out about it later. Also, if you want to buy a t-shirt, you can go to 1022clothing.us. It's like 511, but for bigger dudes, actually twice as big. And it will bring you to our shirt link. Not only are my shirts there, but my friend Chappie's shirts are there, who owns the website. And you can buy his shirts there too. I don't mind. Rusty just bought a couple today. One of our listeners. He's not in the chat, but he usually is. So that's what's going on with us. You can also go to Black Bag Resources and make a purchase and have those items donated to our diversity shoot. Just type 2A4E for free shipping, and he'll bring it directly to me, and we'll give it away or raffle it off at the event. Follow us on Simon Says Train on Instagram. Second is for Everyone on Facebook. Or you can go to diversityshoot.com for our webpage. I really appreciate us being on every week and you guys listening to us. And thanks, Chad, for having me on still.
And you forgot to you noticed I moved Black Bag Resources for you to say from the beginning.
I did say it.
Yeah. But did you mention the podcast?
Oh, the Second is for Everyone podcast? No, actually I didn't.
Well, cool. You should.
Second is for Everyone podcast comes out every week, or we try to make it every week. We did the post NRA show Sunday, and then we put our regular podcast out today. And I have a second half of that NRA show coming out. So, hey, dude, really listen to the show. It's a lot of fun. It's Sean and myself around midnight when we're really punchy and telling bad jokes.
Awesome.
It's funny.
It is pretty funny sometimes.
I have to agree with you sometimes.
Hey, I'm just being honest here. It's like my shooting at steel targets. Hey, I show it like it is. I'm not just making it perfect for Instagram. Send questions.
That was pretty good though. You did a good job, dude. I was like, look at him light that S up.
Send questions, comments, or feedback to gungearreview@gmail.com. Remember to subscribe and leave us an iTunes review. Check out all the other shows on the Firearms Radio Network at firearmsradio.tv. Be sure to visit the Firearms Insider. Check us out on Facebook and Instagram at Firearms Insider. And thank you for listening to the largest pound for pound podcast on the network. And we are out.
What happened to the show? Who did that?
Me.
That's Felicia's brother, by the way, in case.
Or Sean from Black Bag Resources, because he was complaining about.
I was scrolling through the show notes. I was like, "What the hell is that?"
He was complaining about us using his closing lines, so I changed it.
No, he got mad because he finally came on one episode.
And Tony
said, bye, Felicia. And he's so like, that's my line.
So now it's Shanisha.
Nice.
That's good.
Oh, that was funny.